Hello, I'm Brian. We're in mid-October here in Southern California, and I'm going to be starting another round of seeds for planting outside. That's something that I do on a constant basis, but what's different will be what type of seeds we start and then also the weather at the time of year. So we're at the point where we're going to be doing our seed starting and then letting them grow indoors under grow lights, with the exception to the barley that we're going to start today. And we're just going to leave them outside because barley is one of those things that you can, at this time of year in October here in Southern California, near Los Angeles, we can still start them outside. So I'm going to be starting the barley in the Vago Garden 10 by 20 trays. And I also want to give an editorial note to the previous video where I gave an introduction to these trays. And I mentioned that because there are slits on the cells and also the opening on the bottom for both air pruning and also easy access to popping out the plants from these plugs. I had mentioned that in order to keep the moisture these trays need to be married up with something like this 10 by 20 deep tray. I since realized that it actually would be better to marry this up with a flat tray like this, a shallow flat tray. And this one is made by American Trade Company, sold through Epic Gardening. Vago Garden also has their own flat tray that they make for this 10 by 20 tray that you can match it up with. So you got a couple options on how to best use these Vago Garden trays. And the reason I'm saying that the shallow trays work best is because I noticed that there is this lip here, this side wall, and it keeps the moisture in because it's not exposing too much of the slits to the air. Also, additionally, these 1020 trays have ridges on the bottom that make them more rigid, but at the same time, where there are ridges, there are troughs, and the soil can come out from the bottom of the tray and kind of start to get all over the place. So in short, use a shallow flat tray to match up with the Vago Garden. So I'm gonna do some barley, and barley is something that I've grown in the past as a cover crop, but I want to grow them this year as a crop to maybe cook up. So I picked up some varieties of barley. I love the black or purple types of plants, and so there is a black hulless barley, and then there is a purple karma, and I'm going to be planting the black hulless because the seeds on the black hulless are much larger than the purple karma, and I figured that might be easier to work with and eat later on. So we're going to pick that. And then as far as the grow medium for filling the tray, I'm between using Pro Mix and potting soil. So I'm going to try using the potting soil because the size of these plugs are pretty big, and I think they can benefit from using potting soil, especially since I'm growing these outside. I prefer to use potting soil or even garden soil that's in the bed versus Pro Mix. So I'm going to get into the Pro Mix a little bit later. So I'm going to start to make this a little bit tidier. I have one of these masonry troughs that we're going to use to catch anything that is loose. So we're going to put this in here, and we're just going to blast this tray here with the potting mix here. This is mostly broken down wood chips, some perlite. There's also some larger pieces of mulch. I'm going to just fill this in. I've got the Vago trays filled up with this potting mix, and I'm going to move this masonry bucket or tray, trough, and put it on this flat sheet. All right, so we're going to punch these in to compact the soil here. And where it needs a little bit more soil, I'm going, like this cell here, I'm going to fill it up a little bit more. Get that rock out of there. So that's one of these things about these standard potting soil mixes, is that they can contain rocks. Let me get those out. And the reason we want to compress the soil is that way it doesn't slide out when we water it. And also when we go and take the plugs, these transplants out of these plugs, the root ball's more held together. If it's too loose and you try to pop these out, it's just going to break apart, and then you're going to cause shock to the roots. And some plants are more sensitive to that than others. Things in the grass family, like barley, they can handle a little bit more of that shock. So that one needs a little bit more, and I think we're ready to plant after that. Or I should say so. All right. I think there are 76 cells in here, and since I don't need 76 plants, although I think if I do end up with it, I'll find room to plant it, I'm going to sow 1 seed per cell. And because of the germination, not all of them are going to germinate. I don't know what the germination rate is on these seed packets. Usually it's 75% or better. So if we get a 75% germination rate, that's fine. Sometimes when we want to ensure a higher germination rate, then we'll put 2 or 3 seeds per cell. But I'm going to put 1 per cell. That way I don't have to come back and thin out. So I'm going to do 1 at a time, 1 seed per tray or cell. But if I was concerned about making sure I have 76 plants, I would put at least a couple seeds. That way we get germination, more germination, and then it also accounts for maybe a runty plant here or there that we can thin out. But since I don't need a lot of plants and I don't want to come back and thin out, I'm going to put 1 per cell. So we're just going to drop that in there. 2 went in, and sometimes it's okay if 2 go in and you can't pick it out really quickly. And then with the barley, oh, that's a half a seed right there. I'm going to put 2. With the barley, we can plant it at least 1/4 of an inch deep. So we already accounted for the depth of the seed with this setup. If there are seeds that you need to plant a little bit shallower, then it's a different process. I would come back and level up the tray with soil, and then I would use a pick to just make a little tiny hole. And then in this case, if I was say to plant a bunch of broccoli, seeds that are smaller than this, that need to be more shallow sowed, then I would come and actually backfill with just a little layer of this Pro Mix, so that it is lighter and more. And then also the Pro Mix, again, the soil equation's a lot more simpler. So as that seed germinates and grows, it has you can have a very basic soil equation, and then once it gets to the roots, it'll be a little bit more further along. Okay, so I'm gonna come back with this and cover. And then the way I would water this is I would start by bottom watering. So I would let the water wick up and water that way. So, and then that's how I would water this. And then at some point I will just, because I'm growing, again, the wheat, I will just come in with a garden hose on the shower setting and then just top water knowing that the wheat is not going to, the seeds aren't going to move around. If the seeds are smaller, they may move around, and we don't want that. So we'll water a more gentler way, which is to bottom water. Okay, there we have it. Our black hulless wheat has been sowed. I'm going to move this, and then we have a little bit of a mess here, and that's how it's going to be when you sow a bunch of seeds. Okay. So next I'm going to be starting some brassicas, and these are going to be some cabbage. We got broccoli. And then we got a purple cauliflower, and then another cauliflower. That's a Skywalker cauliflower. It's a standard cauliflower. And you'll notice that we're just planting one plant of each. So this is more of a high precision sowing. And you'll see in the next parts, I'll give you updates what that entails. So we're going to use, this is going to be Pro Mix. It's, again, a very standard soil for starting seeds. I like it because it's very basic in the soil equation. So I'm just looking around. I'm just trying to find. I'll use this to contain some of the mess that we're going to make with the Pro Mix. I'm going to show you first how I fill these containers. These are Bootstrap Farmer containers, and they come in different colors. I like the convenience of the different colors, so I sprung for it. And it helps because I grow different varieties. It helps with organization, and sometimes I don't need to label what they are. I have the color, and then I go to the spreadsheet, and I put that in real quick. So these are 2.5 inches. The plastics are quite durable. That's why I like them. I can use them year after year, and it's good investment. So I'm going to first fill this without packing, actually. First, I want to make sure this is, when you get Pro Mix, you want to make sure you take all the clumps out. So I want to fill it to the top and then level off. It's kind of like measuring flour when you're baking. Tap it a little bit. Then take another one of these containers and then compact it. Tap and compact. That's all you need to do. Do not press too hard. You don't want it too compact. You actually want it a little bit compact, again, for the same reason as over here, so that when the roots grow, the soil medium holds together. And then we're just going to come back on the top and then level it off. And here we're not going to compact at all. So we want it loose for the seeds. All right, let's move that to the side over there, and then let's shake this into here. All right. So this teal color, I'm going to do the Amadeus broccoli. And in California, we can succession sow because our climate is just, it doesn't have frost. So we can grow year round, including broccoli. And yes, we grow broccoli year round here. With some of these varieties, like Eastern Magic, it tolerates the heat. Amadeus, I think we got a late spring, early summer harvest. But now that it's cooler, I can start this and be very certain that it will produce for us. And this goes on top, just a little bit of probably a 1/4 inch as well. And then that's it. We're done. And you'll notice that I use just one seed. This is also a good way to maximize our seed usage. We use some really high quality seeds. This is from Johnny's. And then the Skywalker, I think it's also a pretty high quality seed too. So I'm gonna see. Yeah, this one is this is by Pine Tree Garden Seeds, and this one happens to be pretty high quality because it's coated. So we're gonna use one seed as well. And it only takes 3 days to find out if it doesn't sprout. It's just, so we're not losing a lot of time. So in 3 days, if it doesn't sprout, or when it sprouts, it looks very frail. then we'll start another plant. And for us, we're always starting plants. We always got something going on, so we're not going to be losing out too much. So we don't need the insurance policy of oversowing. Okay, this one, Purple Moon. I try to have some organization in color, so I always use yellow for cauliflower or orange. So, and then for the Purple Moon, I like to use purple or lavender container. So that goes down there as well. And you'll notice that I didn't compact this because I don't want it compacted since we're sowing one seed, it may have trouble pushing out. Sometimes when you use a heavier soil medium, you'll use multiple seeds because then they help one another push through the hard packed soil. All right, the last one is going to be this, where'd it go? This red acre cabbage. And we have quite a few seeds in here. This is also a pretty high quality seed as well. But since we have a lot here and we're probably not going to get through eating them, I'm going to put 3 seeds in here, and I'll select for the best looking ones. So that's the red acre cabbage. So the last thing to do is to water the our seeds. And then I've got, where to go? I got this, here it is. So here I got some reverse osmosis water, and when it rains, I'll be collecting rainwater and using that. But for now, since I don't have rainwater, I'm going to be using this RO water, and I'm going to just let the container's bottom soak here like this. This is going to move a little bit. This is going to be a little bit buoyant because this is a very dry medium right now. So once they get some water in there, it'll get heavy and then it'll just stand upright. So I'm going to bottom water, and the reason why I use rainwater is because our tap water has salts and other minerals that will, again, with the soil equation, make it a little bit more complicated, especially salt. So when we bottom water, whenever you bottom water, whatever minerals, especially salt, is contained in your water is going to stay in there. The reason why you need to top water if you're going to be using tap water is because you want all that salt to drain out. But I'm going to be using bottom water because later on going to be using some fertilizer to feed the plants, and I don't want to lose that fertilizer through leaching. So I think it'll make more sense later on when the plant sprouts and I start to feed it. Show you how I feed it and keep it going under the grow lights. It'll make more sense. So for now, I'm going to be bottom watering with reverse osmosis water or rainwater. Since I'm growing these plants outside, I'm going to water later on just with the shower water. Not shower water, but the shower setting on the sprinkler on the hose and watering that way. So that's it for this video. Again, it's a dress rehearsal video for me. I hope it is a little bit helpful, gave you some insights. But ultimately, come check back in the future for more of a formal video as I gather all my thoughts and figuring out how to best communicate them in a very efficient manner that's also enjoyable and entertaining to watch. So we got some brassicas for next round of planting. In the garden, we're waiting on some other ones that are already starting to produce. And then stay tuned for an update on when these sprout, and I show you how they are started or grown underneath the grow light and some of the other considerations. So until the next video, thanks for joining me out here in the greenhouse as we start some seeds in these new trays, and then start seeds for the next planting, but to grow these transplants under grow lights with these types of containers and soil medium.